I have said that while they were telling you that Trump was a threat to democracy, I was telling you he was a threat to bureaucracy. And that is exactly what is going to happen. They're talking about getting rid of as many as 1 million government workers, just like Musk did when he bought Twitter. He got rid of two-thirds of the workforce. He went from 100,000 down to less than 30,000 workers at Twitter. And it cost him nothing. He got rid of the dead weight. He got rid of the people who would not come back to the office to work, who staged some of these little protests saying that, they were untouchable. Well, Musk just proved to them that they were as insignificant and as unnecessary as they were. And now, folks, are you reading that a large percentage of federal workers do not report to the office every day in Washington, that they're still working from home? Well, guess what? That's all about to come to a screeching halt. So, the way I see it, there are a number of federal workers like Jack Smith who are going to just quit. They're going to see the handwriting on the wall. And rather than leave in disgrace, they're just going to quit. They've got their resume out right now. They're looking for another job. Now, in Jack Smith's case, I think he is quitting because he wants to keep whatever benefits he may have as a former federal worker as opposed to a fired federal worker. And you know that Trump would fire Jack Smith if the inauguration's at 10 o'clock. Jack Smith's going to be toast at 12:01. As soon as the inauguration is over and Trump's able to get to the Oval Office, the first official act will be to fire would have been to fire Jack Smith. But Jack Smith's not off the hot seat yet. Just mark my word, Pam Bondi will hire prosecutors that are going to go investigate all the things that have been wrong for the last 4 years. They will investigate Jack Smith. They will get whatever internal memos haven't been shredded or sanitized, and they will start putting people under oath, and they will start copping pleas with offering plea deals to people who are going to rat out other people. And we're going to get to the truth of the lawfare that we have had to endure for the last 4 years. We are probably going to unravel the lawfare that was brought against Trump in the 2 fake, phony impeachments and the 4 fake, phony prosecutions. Now, that's going to take an awful lot of prosecutors. Maybe she will be able to hire Matt Gaetz to be one of those prosecutors that don't require Senate confirmation. Maybe he can be a part of the solution yet. So I don't think Gaetz is done. I don't know where he's going to land, and I don't know what his political future holds. He has been rumored to be a potential candidate for governor in Florida. DeSantis only has 2 more years. I think that's a distinct possibility. He could end up in the Justice Department, or he could end up in Doge and help Musk, or he could rerun for the Congress. So I don't know if I finished that thought earlier, but I don't think Gaetz is done yet. There is a path for him in politics. But the bigger question is how Trump will dismantle the deep state. And that is the excitement, I think, that is coming in the next administration. But I'll tell you what my biggest worry is. And I am optimistic. I do think that the team Trump has surrounded himself with, they're all winners. If you watch the way that Trump conducts himself, he just doesn't allow losers into the fold. People who've run for office who didn't win, they're not invited back in. There are a couple of exceptions to that. Oz has been offered an ambassadorship. Herschel Walker has been welcomed back into the fold. Aside from that, there are just not too many of us who've run for election who have been invited back in. That's okay. You know the rules when you go into it. You know the way that the rules of the Trump world. And so you just take those lumps and keep moving. In my own case, I'm going to be true to my beliefs, true to what I think. I'm not going to let pettiness rule my conduct or my thoughts. But Trump has surrounded himself with people that are fighters. As I said, many of them are victims of the very bureaucracy they're now going to be leading. I think it's going to be a wild ride. What I worry about is I don't think that Trump is safe. And Vladimir Putin, Thursday, in his press conference, where he stood and took questions for over an hour, unlike Harris, who wouldn't even go on Joe Rogan. It's just all such a crock. It's such a lie. She said, oh, well, we just couldn't get a date. Well, to go get a date with somebody that can put you in front of 10 million voters, you're damn right. You figure out a way to get to Austin, Texas to sit for the interview on his terms, not yours, which is exactly what Trump did, not Harris. Anyway, Putin said that he did not believe that Donald Trump was safe. I guarantee you that there are members of the deep state that have infiltrated Trump's organization. They know his schedule. They are looking for any vulnerability. And I do believe that there will be further attempts on Trump's life. And I worry myself sick about it. And obviously, Putin shares that concern. And I just hope the people that are responsible for Trump's safety are ever vigilant. And I pray for their wisdom and their competence. And I hope that President Trump has his own people overlooking his security. I know that's tricky, but I've advocated it since Butler. I don't know what happened in Butler, but the official narrative for our listeners, you know that I don't buy it. I don't believe it. I won't be satisfied until, at least in part, we know the whereabouts and who Maxwell Urich is or was, and what his connection was to Thomas Matthew Crooks. I want to know about all the innuendo and the ties to the deep state and to the CIA that Maxwell Urich had. We know that his van was in Butler, Pennsylvania. We saw it being towed away from the venue. We were told that it contained explosives. Maxwell Urich's father owns Urich Munitions in Mesa, Arizona. The van had Mesa, Arizona, or Arizona license plates on it. Maxwell Urich's parents filed a missing persons report on July the 13th or 14th on their son. I have not heard any word on his whereabouts, whether he has been found, whether he is alive or dead. And I think he is a missing link into what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania, no less than the guy who tried to take President Trump's life in West Palm Beach. He, like Urich, fought in the Ukraine and had alleged ties to the CIA. So I think the deep state, the shadow government, and I am told that there are conflicting or different levels within our federal government. You've got permanent Washington, which is the deep state, and then you have the shadow government, which are the intelligence community, or maybe I've got it backwards. I don't know. But there is a distinction to be made there. And people like Brennan and Comey, they're the deep state that I'm referring to, the people in the intelligence community that literally hate Donald Trump, make no bones about it, have tried to sabotage him since the day that he came in office. I believe they're still sabotaging him because I think this time, when Trump is the 47th president of the United States, he is not going to allow them to go quietly into the night. I urge him, release the Kennedy files, release all the information that the federal government has in its files that will answer the questions of who was behind Butler, Pennsylvania, who was behind the attempted assassination in West Palm Beach. And did the Secret Service shirk its responsibility? When you look at that theater in Butler, they may as well have had a neon sign saying, open, welcome, come on in. They let the guard down at best, and were complicit at worst. Fact is, I don't know which story to buy, but I don't believe Matthew Crooks worked alone. I don't think that this guy that was a carpenter from Hawaii and was made 20, well, I think $36,000 a year, according to him, had the money to travel to the Ukraine, travel to West Palm Beach. I mean, he had to pay for an airline ticket. He had to get a rental car. He had to have a place to stay. It just doesn't, the story doesn't wash. And we need truth. We need the answers to these questions. And I think that the only way, I think sunshine is the best disinfectant there is. And I hope that the Trump administration will go find the answers to these questions, expose these people and the evil that they represent, and get it all out into the open so that they will be stopped in their tracks. So you've got Elon Musk, Dana White, Joe Rogan, Barron Trump, and Robert Kennedy, who I think Trump can thank for helping get him across the line in the 2024 election. I also think Christians, evangelicals, Catholics, and as we've talked about, Christians who have not previously voted before, who came out for Trump, deserve huge amounts of credit. And I know that Trump is going to remember them when he takes office and help return this country and legitimize Christians and allow them to worship without government interference. So there's a lot to be optimistic for. And on this time of Thanksgiving, there is a lot to be thankful for.